with R's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Team Associated B7 Bag 3. So let's get started. All right, everything's unpacked. It's nice to see that they included 3 different steering blocks. Looks like there's a KPI 1, KPI 2, and KPI 3. It says that the KPI 1 has less direct steering feel and KPI 3 has the most direct steering feel. But it shows using the one in the middle, the KPI 2, in the kit setup. So the only difference that I can see is where the axle, the center line here, that axle is moving closer to the axis of the steering, or the kingpin. The KPI 3 is further away from the axis. KPI 1 is closer to the steering axis, or the kingpin axis. So take note when looking at these. Right here it says KPI 1, so we're not going to use that one. This one says KPI 3. So we're going to use this one that says KPI 2. So let's get this off the parts tree and trimmed if needed. We're going to need 4 5x10x4 bearings. So let's go ahead and grab those. And check on page 3 to make sure that you're grabbing the correct ones. So I'm going to do the left-hand side first. I believe that's what's shown in the manual. So you can do that first. So I'm just going to go ahead and install the bearings using my bearing tool. And I like to install it with the blue seals facing out, but it doesn't matter which way you do it. Next we can take one of our axles, and the axle is going to go in from the side that has the lettering. So the axle goes in just like so. And then on this side, we're going to install a N3x6 button head cap screw with some blue Loctite. You can use a shock wrench to hold this axle in place while you tighten this up, snug it up, but I left mine at the hobby shop. So I'm going to go grab a 12mm wrench and tighten this up. So you can hold it with a variety of things, but the one thing you want to make sure is that you don't mar up the surface. So let's go ahead and do the other side as well. So this is the right side. Bearings are installed. We're going to install the axle on the side that has the lettering, just like so. M3x6 button head cap screw with some blue Loctite. Now we can get our steering arms, or the steering block arms, ready to install. So the steering arms are going to look like this, and these are the new caster mounts. So we're not going to use these right now. We're going to get 2 of these ready, and we want to make the mirror opposite of each other. So we're going to need 2 8mm ball studs with an M3 lock nut. 2 of those. So for one of the steering blocks, I'm going to install it like so. For the other steering block, it's going to install in the opposite direction like this. So these are now ready to install onto the steering blocks. So we need 2 M3x8 button head cap screws for each side, so 4 total. And the way they're going to install is like so. This is the, let's do the left side first. So this is the left side steering block, and it's going to install like so. We have the axle facing out. We have this cutout. So this drops right in, and the ball stud will be facing up. And then we can install the 2 M3x8 screws from the top, just like so. Okay. So there's the left side. Let's do the right side in the same fashion. So right side, lettering, it's going to install like so. All right, we can set these assemblies aside for now, and we can work on the caster block. So we have our new caster block link mounts, and we're going to make the mirror image of each other so they fit on both sides. So we're going to need the 10mm ball studs. We're going to need the 2mm aluminum ball stud washer. These are the larger ones that are included. Then we're going to need 2 M3 lock nuts. So we install the ball stud washer onto the ball stud, and then go ahead and install. As you can see, they're the mirror image of each other. Now we can get our caster blocks off the parts tree, trimmed, and then we can get these ready to install the rest of the parts. I can definitely tell that the plastic quality is different than the B6.4. Just seems a little sturdier. So these are directional. So you can catch it. This side's the right side, this side's the left side. So let's focus on the left side first, since that's what's being shown in the manual. Okay. So this is the left side. What we notice is that on the back side of the C block, the caster block, there's a spot for the steering stop screw. So this is the front side. And the way that we're going to install the ball stud is like so. The ball stud needs to be facing the front of the vehicle, and so it's going to install like this. So once this is installed, you can see that where the steering stop screw is, it's going to be on the back side. The ball stud is on the opposite end. We're going to need 2 M3x8 button head cap screws to go ahead and install this onto the caster block. Okay, so that's the left side. We can do the right side, and remember, for the right side we have the steering stop screw hole. When we install the ball stud, that ball stud is going to be facing the front of the vehicle, like so. And we need 2 M3x8 screws to go ahead and install them. Okay, so here's a closer look at the right side. Again, ball stud in the front, stop screw, steering stop screw, hole in the back. So it's a mirror image of the left side that's over here. All right, so now we can install the caster block pivot balls. You can try using the shock pliers to install the caster block pivot balls, but it looks like the wider flange is going to be up here. It was actually very easy to install. And again, the wider flange is over here. They pop in nice and easy. So let's go ahead and get our caster inserts. And we're going to need the 2.5. So you can grab those off the parts tree. And the quality on these are much better than the B64. So remember there being a lot of flashing on these parts. So we're going to install this with the tab facing up. So by that I mean this is the caster insert, and there is a small tab on this insert right here. There we go. So when we install this, we're going to install it with the tab facing up in the same direction as the ball stud. So you can just go ahead and push that in. And we do the same thing on this side. Make sure that the tab is facing up, which it is. Okay, so now they're telling us to install M3x6 set screws from the bottom down here. And that's supposed to help the caster block insert from moving. I would just kind of put it halfway in and then leave it for now, just because it's hard to feel when it shoulders up on the caster block insert, and you might end up deforming it and preventing the hinge pin from rotating freely. So we won't mess with that until this is installed onto the chassis. All right, the steering stop screw is a M2.5 by 6. So we can grab those and install them. And it basically just says to set it flush with the caster block to start. So basically not even really having it in there. So now we can assemble the whole steering assembly together with the steering blocks. So let's do the left side first. So this is the front. This is the caster block link, which will be where our camber link or upper link is going to mount. Then we have our left side steering block. We're going to install the two caster hat bushings in here. So the thick one will go on the bottom and the thinner one is going to go on the top. Just like so. Then we can slide in our steering block. And we're going to install M3 by 14 screw from the top and an M3 by 16 screw on the bottom. Okay, once it's shouldered up, it's good. And everything does move under its own weight, which is beautiful. I really like how they did the steering assembly, because it doesn't seem to have as much play as it did before. So I'm excited to see how these work. On the B64, I believe this 3mm caster block was actually a 2, and this 0 was actually a 1, so it was actually a little bit further down. But interesting to see the small changes that they've made. All right, so let's go ahead and do the right side. Same thing, the 3mm caster block insert on the bottom, the 0 on the top, just like so. Then we're going to go ahead and slide in our steering block assembly. Our steering block assembly is in place, and we can install the M3 by 16 screw from the bottom and the M3 by 14 screw from the top. All right, and everything moves freely under its own weight. So that's exactly what we want. Now we can grab our chassis and install everything on to the control arms. So this is our right side assembly. This is our left side assembly. So they gave some extra shims. They're 1mm ball stud shims. I don't know if those were extra given for tuning options, but what we can, so typically on this parts tree, these are the shims that are used for the caster block shim. So set these two aluminum ball stud washer shims aside because we don't know what those are for. Maybe they're for something moving forward. So let's get these caster block shims off the parts tree. So we're going to install on the left side first. We're going to install the hinge pin from the back side like so with the caster block shim. Then we're going to install the hinge pin through the caster block insert, which is in the caster block. Okay, so everything's now in place. So now what we can do is install the M2 by 4 button head cap screw on the back of the arm in this hole right here. And that's going to prevent that hinge pin from backing off. And all we need to do is do that gently so you don't strip out the hole. And once you see it shoulder up, it's good. There we go. And then now I think is a good time to tighten up that set screw that holds the caster block insert. And there is a note that says the hinge pin will be tight in the caster blocks but rotate freely in the arms. So this will prevent the caster block insert from moving about. But as you can see, everything moves nice and free like it should. All right, so we can go ahead and do the other side the same way. Go ahead and insert our hinge pin. We have our caster block shim. Install our caster block steering assembly, and then just push until that hinge pin goes all the way in. And then finally we can tighten the set screw. It looks like it just sits pretty much flush with the bottom of the plastic. So, and everything moves nice and free like it should. That's exactly what we want. So that's it for bag 3. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. I'll do my best to help you out, and your comments do help the community to see if people are having common problems. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.